Hi, and welcome to this quick overview of the Modus Live transformation platform. We're going to just talk you through the key functionality that we have shown to Sheila and just cover some of the key points that we discussed in the meeting. And we're going to talk through a logical flow of how we actually build a transformation portfolio. And the first place that we start is with the business model. And the reason for that is if you have a transformation on your hands, you will normally see a big change in how you make or how you spend your money. And those changes can be set out as brand changes, category changes, new channels, new markets, and you could even be looking for new supplier regions, new key partners, and you can basically map the entire business model out very quickly. We normally do this data take on very early, and most of this information is well known. So it's just cataloging all of those big components of your business that really describes exactly where it buys, what it buys, who it's buying for, how it moves its product, and which markets, channels, categories, and products are present in those markets, channels, brands, formats. And of course, the nice thing about it is that all of that information feeds itself, and you've got some great Power BI reports here that really start to build that entire hierarchy and give you a clear view of the as is, but also the to be. So if you're adding a new market, if you're adding a new brand, if you're adding a new channel, it'll actually be placed on the to be version of this. And understanding what that change is, what the change is in the customer or the supplier base on the partner network is as a result, will allow you to start to look at what the impact is on operations. And what we're going to do next is actually have a look at the value chain modeler. And the value chain modeler is where we take that information about what's changing in the business model and we map it to a value chain version of the organization. And in this case, we're actually looking now at a grocery commercial value chain. It's end to end. It starts from planning and runs all the way through to product exit and looking after the customer, and goes through all the key activities of buy, move, sell, exit, review, and the like. And what we have are the level -1, level 0, and level 1 processes. And so this is a little bit broader than a capability map. We actually go down to level 1 process. And what we're then doing is we're saying, well, let's look at that end-to-end process in the context of a brand, a format, a category, and it allows us to see specific operational journeys through the end-to-end value chain for any new brand, channel, format, category, or even product that we're looking to bring into the business. And one of the ways we specify the scope is through overlay filters. And those overlay filters give us a color coding that allows us to actually assess the scope of the impact. So in this case, we've actually overlaid it with an impact of bringing a B2B channel into a retail model. And we can basically go through there and catalog the people, process, systems, data changes or issues or opportunities. And we can give that a RAG. In this case, a red means it's a gap. You'd have to bring something new in place. Amber means that it's an existing process that would have to be changed. And then, of course, we can actually start to report on that in a very powerful way. So in the spider diagram, at level 0, we can see that the highest impact is really around product and range development. There are some significant gaps there. And then if we can see just moving around the level 0 wheel, business plan and annual budgeting, master data, these are all areas that are impacted where there are gaps. So you can start to really drill down into this information and look at it in the context of process, but again, by system, by role. You can also put multiple stakeholders in, so you can map sponsors to these pillars. You can map your subject matter experts, SMEs, to the individual boxes. And of course, so this is to the individual level 1 components. And so that means you can then start to look at the operating model. So we're going to look at managed store operations and just drill down into the operating model components for managed store operations. So this gives us all of the activities that are done in store, and you can see the level 2 and level 3 processes, all of the information associated with conducting those processes, you can access by drilling down. So receiving store stock, you've got the policies that you're implementing, the RACI, who does it, who's responsible, accountable, consulted, informed, the key governance meetings, the KPIs, and of course the training material. You can link all of your process documentation, so your Visio diagrams, and really get into the detail of exactly how the standard operating procedure should be executed. And obviously a lot of this information we're building as we're designing, and so it simplifies the process of creating your SOPs. So here you can see process variances. We added in receiving stock for liquor and then receiving stock for B2B wholesale. So in this case, that might change how we receive stock in with new policies, a slightly different execution model in terms of the RACI, new training documents. And that makes it really, really powerful to introduce new processes into already existing, running infrastructure. So now what we're going to do is just go and have a look at our reporting. So obviously what's happening is, as we are looking at the impact on the business model, as we're looking at the impact on the operations and modeling that in the value chain, we start to get an idea of the kind of programs or projects we might have to run, and we can align those to our strategic initiatives. So in this case, we've set out your 3 pillars: inspire customers, smarter selling, win together, and the key initiatives under them. And this means that you can see a portfolio dashboard of the entire portfolio aggregated up to those individual pillars, or broken down into programs or down into projects. And in this case, you can just see it's aggregated up by pillar. And so the key start and end dates are there. Your key information, stakeholder packs are held in here. And then we've also got all of the key transformation assets. So these might be the risk logs, the issue logs, the system catalog, all of those key bits of information that we need to bring together to automate all of this reporting and provide the level of detail required that really starts to drive agile projects and agile thinking. So if we want to drill down into a particular initiative, we've set up B2B wholesale there. And what we can see is we can drop down into the B2B wholesale launch portfolio. So in this case, we've set out, right, you might have a pillar: build the brand, build your operational capability, customer experience, grow the business, people and engagement. There could be other elements of sustainability that you can add in, or you can build a complete custom method for your pillars. And obviously the key programs and projects, again, set out in there that you can report on. And that all aggregates up then to group and board level portfolio reporting. But we can also have lots and lots of different reports and drill down options to really look at the progress to budget, the progress to benefit. And we can actually set out multiple portfolios. So we can look at our system refresh, so ERP and system implementations. We can look at our environment and sustainability initiatives. And we can obviously look at our emerging business initiatives, or our C19 impact and business improvement roadmap, with all of the initiatives, programs, and projects set out, all with the ability to very simply roll up their progress to key dates, their progress to key budget points, and obviously delivery of benefit. And all of this is supported on Power BI. It's all running on Microsoft Office 365 with some proprietary tools that we've developed around the value chain and the business model, to then bring all of this reporting to life in a way that actually enables a higher quality and more agile transformation, because you've got visibility and because you've got an element of basic control. So in order to deliver the initiatives, obviously our delivery vehicle is the project, and this is a project manager view of a project. So you can see that the project immediately shows you a summary of the reporting dashboard. You can drill down into that project, and all of the key information about the project is available through the dashboard reports. It'll set out the timeline, your resource utilization. It'll set out your progress to specific deliverables, budgeting, whatever you actually start setting up in the system by owner. You can start drilling down by task, by deliverable, and by specific role. And that obviously gives you enormous control, because the project information is what you're going to aggregate back up in order to start to calculate your board reporting. And you want that to be as simple as possible. And so what we've basically done in order to run the project effectively is we've set out a number of central assets. So here you can see transformation as usual office hub. These are the central assets that you would always maintain. So your transformation and vision hub, you've got your mobilization and setup. So this is basically how you get funding and how you get approval. And then setting up the portfolio management office in terms of the portfolio pillar reporting, the programs and the projects. So all of those methodologies, you've got your 5-step methodology. So that template would be loaded in there, and all of your stage gates reviews would be done against that. You've got your business process design office, often very central to the business stakeholders with the customer experience design activities and that content. And then your central blueprint. So this is where the IT governance and solution architecture and data governance really start to manifest their deliverables. And then obviously change and change management and comms. All of the templates to do the engagement surveys, to do the business readiness surveys, very much automated training and launch academy. And there's a number of key courses and academy content to teach transformation and change skills, and then continuous improvement activities. So all of these templates can be set out very clearly. They're all things you do today, just in a variety of spreadsheets. All of that gets centralized into those hubs to centralize your method, and we then automate and obviously bring them into the digital age with some insight and reporting. And we build the asset libraries. So this is really key. So just system catalogs, role catalogs, data dictionaries, all of this information is typically available and just needs to be harvested over time. The system doesn't want to be right on day one. It really just wants to be fed information for the areas that are relevant. And these reports that you see here in terms of engagement management, communication management, culture management, they start to manifest as part of the survey capability of the platform. So just seeding questions and information out, requesting responses back across the community allows you to start to crowdsource issues, opportunities. And then, of course, we've got some really fantastic dashboards and SharePoint sites where you can provide all of the change management, engagement, behavioral surveys and reports. And so this is very powerful when you start breaking it down by functions, by capability areas, by roles, by sponsors, by stakeholders. And that's all possible with the way that we catalog this information. And so all of that then feeds back up to our portfolio. And what we want to do is really set out what the model is for that portfolio, and that's what all of those transformation assets do. And then the final piece is a transformation accelerator, and this is mainly for new startups where you're going to build an MVP, and it sets out around 100 key activities in a launch framework that very quickly gets any new channel, any new market, or even any new product to a launch stage for an MVP. And so this is also gives them all of their reporting, all of their progress tracking, but a little bit more in a startup flavor. So a little bit, possibly more interesting in an emerging business sense. And so all of the same features are available there as with running a project in terms of the portfolio reporting, program reporting, project reporting, budget management. And the key here is that we're always looking to pull the information in from all the different sources and then display them in the context of the business model, in the context of the value chain, and in the context of your operating model. And if you do that, then you've got all of the bricks that you can create, the building blocks that you can create your infrastructure for your new channels, for your new markets and for your new emerging businesses. So those are the key elements that we have prepared so far. What we'd like to do next is actually take on some of your data and potentially for B2B, model this as a business model impact, as a value chain impact, and then draft what the portfolio would look like. And we can then also start modeling what some of the board reporting would look like coming out of that. So that would be a real life showcase, and we could put it in the format that you've already seen. And I think talking that narrative through with data that means something to you could be a really effective way of getting to grips with what we've just shown you. I think the key thing here is that at some point we have to really take control over how we guide and drive the transformation, and making available this information to the solution architects, to the business analysts, to the sponsors, to the stakeholders, to the subject matter experts, gives everybody the ability to speak the same language, and they're able to follow a pattern of tried and tested methodology that delivers very, very clear scoping, very clear engagement, and really allows everybody to get the best out of their role. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and we look forward to adding more specific Coles information soon.